Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I'd like to welcome you to the City Council interview process. We are here today to begin the interview of 27 applicants for the position, the vacant position that exists in District 3. Just to explain the process, you'll have 15 minutes after the conclusion of this welcome to answer questions from the council that will help them, make their decision on the replacement. All the activity that's related to this process is being recorded and will be released to Bowie Cable TV as quickly as possible following all of the interviews. Your 15 minutes will begin with the first question. I suggest that you should remember that you will have 5 questions during the period of time, and you have 15 minutes, so I would kind of discipline the time for your answers as best you think appropriate. Okay? All right, and with that, I'm going to start with Mr. Marcos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys were going to, Marianne, how do you pronounce your last name? You want to introduce yourself to the council?
Sure. My name's Mary Ann Fenner, Medema.
And you live in District 3?
Yes. Amberley Court, 30 years.
Okay. Mr. Marcos.
Thank you very much for being here today. I'll start the first question, and my question is, how do you feel about going forward with residential and commercial development in Bowie? It's a two-part question. And what do you think the relationship between the county and Bowie should be with regards to development?
Well, having lived here for 30 years, I think some of the best moves we've made have been, my own subdivision was brand spanking new when I first came in. Having said that, there's been Westview, there's been a number of different developments that have come through since, and now we're getting to the point where traffic should be something that's considered with all of this. And so I think definitely there should be an intimate relationship between commercial and residential development in this council, because we should always consult with the police chief, Ms. Nesky, regarding the safety issues. And also, we need to consider, again, the traffic issues. And then, in some respects, I also feel the residents should have a say in this, because there seemed to be a lot of unhappiness with the marketplace, the apartments that developed, and whether or not the people near it were going to be amenable to having a large series of apartments there. So I think the council's probably the best suited to listen to all sides and then come to a decision as stewards of the community, as what's best for the community, and not just one small segment of the population here.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Trout.
Yes. Good morning and thank you for applying. My question is, what do you think is the most important issue in Bowie, and how do you plan to make improvements?
Well, being the mother of 4, I always see young people as something that should be especially concerned about, because just watching my own 4 having programs that are available to the youth, they stay here if they become involved. They also give a lot to a community. And he's a perfect example. Mr. Esteve is a graduate of DeMatha, so are my 2 boys. I think when you get involved with a community, both of my boys have stayed here. And my daughter has a job here as well. But they were involved, Boys and Girls Club, different programs that were available to them in the city. And also, I think we have to take recognition of the fact that there's some crises with drugs and alcohol and other issues that need to be addressed in any community. And so I think I have two groups that I'm very concerned about, the youth and seniors. So I think I would like to see what can be done to continue the progress that's been made, because that rec center is a gem for the seniors with different programs they've been running, and also keeping the youth in sports, in activities, scouts, things like that, that keep them on a good path and towards becoming leaders themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Whitford, for coming out this morning. Thank you so very much. My question to you is, it is my opinion that local government is the most important level of government. Explain why you either agree or disagree.
I think that local government definitely plays a large role in the people that reside here. But having said that, I think you have to look at what's happened to our country currently with our leadership, that we have to recognize that the president and the federal government also has a huge role in people's lives. So I think from day-to-day business, yes, local government is extremely important to people, and I think having a nice community to come home to and to be a part of is extremely important. But I also feel that, no, I think the federal government itself and the top kahuna is definitely playing a role in everyone's lives these days. So I can't say it's the most important, but I can say it certainly is a major player. All righty.
Good morning, and thanks
Good
for
morning.
coming out. Appreciate your willingness to serve and to be here with us this morning. I'd like to start with a question on serving the community. To date, how have you chosen to serve the city of Bowie? For example, served on city committees, run for office, been on the HOA or PTA or something along the like. And how will that help you represent your constituents if you're selected?
I will say that my involvement in the community at large has pretty much been focused on the schools my children went to. So there was Holy Trinity, and I was a member of that parent group and ran some of the assisted, actually Sheila Curry and I did the some of the book sales for Scholastic book sales together. And then as they got older, my daughter went to, my oldest girl was tested into Eleanor Roosevelt Sci-Tech program, so there was all the issues of following that program through, including the paper that was due at the end of the year. And then there was my daughter Carrie was an explorer here, and so being part of that with the police chief, and they competed up in Georgia, or down in Georgia. So there was some things that were there, and some fundraising and things that they needed. And then there came the boys at DeMatha, so that's band, cross country, basketball, and track. So in terms of the city itself, I admit I have not been someone on council before or not. I do a lot in my church. At St. Pius, I was a lector and a choir member, and at St. Edward's, I'm cantor and a choir. So that pretty much consumed my time because I was a full-time lawyer. And I worked, God help me, for 4 years in Timonium. So that was a sometimes 2-hour commute one way. So my focus has always been my family, but they're getting older now, and I admit totally that this is out of my comfort zone, but so was cantering at church. So I take a challenge, I like it, and so that's why I have the time now, and I'd like to get involved.
Mr. Stead.
Morning, Ms. Fenner. This question is specific to District 3. The Sears location at the Bowie Town Center is
Yes.
closing. The owners of the property are planning a mixed-use development on the site. What are your thoughts on the matter?
I did see that in the paper recently, and I would first want to speak with Chief Nesky about the safety issues at the mall, and make sure that we're okay in terms of our safety issues. I myself thought, wow, that would be a good idea for a hotel, because you have the mall out for those who would be visiting our area, and it's a nice little mall. I am not, having not seen any recent stats, I would say I'd have to take that into consideration with whether or not we have enough housing here in Bowie. It seems to me we're building everywhere, but I don't, it's a different kind of rent. If it's an apartment setting, it's a different kind of payment each month. So all things being said, I recognize it as a valuable piece of property in my area, and I'd like to also to get some consensus of the people in District 3, what they would like to see there, have a survey of some kind, and what would their thoughts be, because it's a prime area, and it never hurts to open up the conversation to those who may have even better ideas.
I'd like to wrap things up and give you an opportunity to say, is there a last thought about you that you would like to leave with the council?
I've been here a long time, 30 years. My late husband and I bought out in Amberley Court when it was brand new. I found it to be a wonderful community and city to bring up children. I have 4. I am a lawyer, mostly a litigator. So I felt that having some of that background might help assist the council in certain areas. And then, most of all, as I said before, this is a little bit out of my comfort zone. But that being said, I do enjoy a challenge, and I am a team player, so I would like to learn first, and as I learn, use that and your acumen as council members of longstanding to find out what it is that I can be of use to the council and also my area. And that being said, I told a couple of people, that I was doing this, and they felt compelled to write letters for me, so I'll leave these with you.
I'm sorry, they are.
They were surprised that I was going to try it, and thought they wanted to endorse, so I'll just leave those for you guys to read. I was surprised, but it's nice.
Okay, well, the interviews will continue through today and through Tuesday and Wednesday. Just as an aside, I would suggest that if anybody wants to talk to you about the interview, that you suggest that you have that conversation with them after all the interviews are completed. That's
Of
for your-
course, I understand.
Okay.
And God bless you all, because I have 27 people.
Okay.
I think my worst one was trying to interview
All right,
paralegals.
thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming out on a morning like this. Thank you.